Welcome to Keeping Up with Data. Keeping Up with Data is the podcast that keeps data enthusiasts up to speed with what is happening in the data world. We bring in the leading minds from the data industry to talk all things career, news, embarrassing stories, failures and successes. So something really important for us here at Precision Sourcing is mental health. It's something we've been focused on a lot over the last year or so, and we're lucky enough to have partnered with the Black Dog Institute. And we're going to be doing a lot of events with them this year. A lot of our events, money will be going towards them. And they're out there aiming to create a mentally healthier world for everyone. So if you wish to support the cause, please donate via the link in the bio on this podcast, and you'll be seeing a lot more information about Black Dog over the next year. So welcome to Keeping Up with Data, episode 4 with me, Joel Robinstein. And lucky for us, we've got a new colleague today. So Max.
Yes, stepping in on this one. So I'm Max Woolgar, also working the data team here at Precision. So yeah, excited to go for it.
I'm excited to see how you differ from Emily, so we'll see how we go. And we are joined by our great friend Mark Grace this week. Mark, how are you?
Yeah, very good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
No worries at all. Well, as always, we're going to let you introduce yourself, so tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Awesome. Yeah, Mark, yet another Brit who's moved to Sydney. For work, I head up the data team at BRG. So we run an experience marketplace with household brands like Red Balloon and Adrenaline here in Australia. Outside of work, you'll find me in and around the sea. I'm a little kid. Get me near the sea and I'm super happy. So surfing, swimming, anything.
So you're the typical Brit that we go to eastern suburbs or northern beaches?
Manly, yeah.
Oh, Manly, really? Oh, I've got so many people who live in Manly in our company as well, but...
It is it's a heavy Manly business, this one. I am eastern suburbs, but
yeah, good choice. I did eastern suburbs when I first moved here, but I've Central Coast now, got out of Sydney, much more peace and quiet. So I think we're going to get into quite a lot of stuff around what you guys do as well as a business today, because obviously, especially with COVID, local like events, local experiences, like that's massive. So you guys must have been super busy this year.
Oh, it's been awesome. Yeah, we had a rough start where basically everyone stopped, obviously. But since then, it's been awesome to see. Yeah, so experiencing great growth and just it's brilliant that Australians want to explore their back door. It's just really cool.
Well, I mean, I've been here 11 years now and I haven't been to 95% of the country, right? There's so much to do, isn't there, though, to be honest?
There is.
And I'm guessing you living in Manly, you haven't left Manly for years. So
very good.
Nothing,
Insular
right?
Peninsula, very good. No, it's always... So my fiance is a teacher and we basically go away every one of our holidays.
Oh, brilliant.
And super lucky, and always go back to school and the teachers are blown away. They're like, you've been to more of Australia than I have. Yeah, so it's cool.
Nice. All right, well, we're going to get into how data flows through your business and how it all works. We're going to get into some of the usual stuff around best data joke. Max, I know you're very confident with your data joke.
yeah, it's a ripper.
Yep, good. Some of the normal stuff around what does your family think you do, your zombie apocalypse, all the greatest hits. And we've also got Emily on the streets. Even though she's not here, she still went out on the streets. But let's just start with you, your background, Mark. Tell us about that first pivotal moment when you knew, okay, I want to get into data. What was that?
Yeah, it was probably fairly early in my career. I was lucky. Did engineering at uni because I didn't know what I wanted to do, and that seemed right. I was
So
like,
you didn't know what you wanted to do and you chose a really technical degree?
yeah, it's just maths. It's applied maths. That's all it was. I was like, I like maths, but maths itself is just a bit dry. I want something that I can apply it to.
A bit more of a sexy subject then.
Oh yeah, it was all sexy in engineering for sure. Then I went into management consultancy again because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was like, I want to see lots of different businesses and really understand how they work. And then quite early on in that, I managed to get on a number of different projects, and I was on one attempting to do a churn model in Excel, and the project leader at the time was like, you should talk to Vivek, our data lead. And I was like, yeah, sounds good. So I did, and he blew me away. 30-minute chat, and I was just like, this is exactly what I want to do. I love this. It all sounds great. I'm dying here in Excel. Mm-hmm. Give me more. And from there, really, it was awesome. So we built up the data team of that consultancy from kind of 10 to 30, which was really cool and doing some fun stuff. And then that was it. The path was set.
So talk to me about the technical side, because I think a lot of junior people that we speak to, Max, always say, what tools should I learn? What journey do people go on? So from an Excel junkie, like what tools did you learn like to get you to where you are now?
Yeah, I think the first thing that anyone should learn is SQL, and then a visualization tool. Like my view on visualization tools they are all fairly similar. There's pros and cons to each, and the hardest thing is embedding it within a business. So if you find a visualization tool in a business, then don't change it unless you have a really good reason to. Like if it's the adoption that's the hardest and the training and that.
I was going to say that's another thing. How easy is it to, if you're a real professional, real specialist expert in Tableau, is it easy to go onto Click? Is it easy to go onto Power BI?
My view is it should be relatively quick for the right people.
Yeah.
Like I look at data and I think actually sometimes it's your ability to have the instructions open on one window and your challenge in front of you on another, and being able to interpret both. But yeah, so like there is a learning curve for sure. But I think it's the concepts behind that are harder to learn and take more time, rather than the specific skill set of Power BI versus Click versus whatever MicroStrategy or future ones. Yeah,
we were talking about it this morning, weren't we?
Yeah.
At your desk, like, okay, so what does a data analyst or an insights analyst need? And I asked you, and you literally said, well, as long as they can do SQL and a Viz tool.
Well, we had that discussion recently that a lot of your sort of more engineering sides are all using Power BI. I'm still, most of the companies and most of the candidates that I'm speaking with, more sort of just around the sort of insights, Viz and analytics, are Tableau that I'm finding. So I don't know whether there's reasons behind that.
Not sure yet.
Yeah.
I think everyone's been moving to Azure as the main cloud tool now. I think AWS hit the market first, and it was all fun and funky, but now everyone's realising it's easier just to have Power BI, Azure, and
Depends what you want to do. It all depends on what you want to do, right?
Well, let's dig into that then. So you know much more than us in terms of which one would you go with, depending on what you would want to achieve.
If you had a completely blank slate.
Yeah.
And an infinite budget. No,
go on. And then
no, because I believe that there's a difference between the deeper insight tasks versus the everyday questions. So the everyday questions, something like a thought spot, that kind of product is amazing. So basically, it's kind of NLP for answering questions. And as long as you've got well-structured data, then actually those kind of things, I do see immense power of in the future. Kind of like fully democratized. Like everyone talks about the nirvana of self-service analytics. What's more self-service than literally a user typing a question? So I really believe where that's going in the right place. And then I think it's about, depending on what your analysts want to do or the aims, like are they doing bigger insight tasks, or are they actually embedding like data within a product? I think that really would depend on what tool you go with.
So there's no right answer, basically.
No. But I think that's basically the common data stack. Like really now the challenge is piecing all of the tools together in a way that works for you, rather than the tools being the issue.
Yeah.
I think it's like that for me is the biggest challenge now. Like we've got so many tools at our fingertips which are unreal. Like it's about how you orchestrate them, piece them together, and provide data teams with a framework to succeed. So yeah, that's kind of there's no nirvana.
It's kind of where we're at as well as a business at the minute. There's so much new recruitment technology that's come out. Andriana sitting across from us here knows as well as me that we could introduce 24 new tools today, but there's no time for anyone to use them properly to get the most out of them. So maybe focusing in on just some small amount of tools and getting the most out of it is the way to go, I would say as well.
100%.
Cool. So BRG, tell us a little bit more about, I guess, where were you as a business in terms of data when you came into it, and like what's that journey been like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I have this slide that I show about what Tableau looked like, but that's not that sexy. I guess there really wasn't much. So when I joined, it was just one brand. It was Red Balloon, and it was founded out of a garage 16 years ago, and it's now grown into this amazing brand, really well known in Australia. And it's a great kind of like loved, well-known brand, but they hadn't necessarily thought about what data could do for them. So it was kind of just, you had Google Analytics there, you had a few stored procedures that kind of got people by and stuff like that. Whereas now we've got three or four brands, a really well-structured data warehouse where we can answer most questions. And we're starting out on that kind of like, well, how do we embed that within the product? Like, how do we actually turn our data into like improving the customer experience when they're there? So that's where I'm at the moment. So it's been a really fun journey to go from, I wish these numbers aren't the same, or can't do that, can't do this, to where should we spend our time? Like we've got the ability to answer most questions. Which one provides us the most value, and how do we enhance the customer experience at the moment that the customer's interacting with us. So yeah, it's been fun.
Brilliant.
There's loads more to do. We're like growing really fast. We want to acquire more business both domestically and internationally. So yeah, it's always a challenge, but lots of fun.
And so you're in a business where data is seen as an asset and people want to invest in it?
100%. It's great. You don't have to sell data to the BRG. They massively believe in the power of it. Every single team is bought in and keen, and like the first day I was back in the office after, all that time of not being in an office, I had literally 6-7 people just come over and be like, this is so good to see you again. I've got questions.
Wow.
Here. It's really fun. It's really nice environment to be in.
Brilliant.
I was just going to say that was always been a big issue in the sort of data world, hasn't it? And I think rightfully so over the past couple of years, you are able to just get much more sign-off in terms of business and, the value that they're able to see, which is good to see.
I think data is one of those industries which COVID, unfortunately, obviously we don't want COVID, affected well. People realise the power of their data much more. They realise the risk around their data. And
well, a lot of people came unstuck, didn't they?
Yeah.
And it's sort of areas that maybe, you couldn't have predicted it, but there may have been less of an impact if, data had been used more efficiently.
Yeah, definitely. And people realise the impact of data on their business as well, right? I'm guessing that you also from that point where you as a data professional have been trying to get this self-serve thing going, and people are like, well, no, you just do it for me, you're the analyst. But then they were stuck at home going, I need to do this myself. No. So I'm guessing that helped adoption. Yeah,
definitely a bit of that, but it also focused the mind. I think that's it. Like when we did go on to reduced hours and stuff at the start just because of all the uncertainty, and it did sharpen the mind about the things that you focus on, and we've kind of kept that through like standing back up, and it's been really cool.
Good. So you mentioned that your fiancée is a teacher. What ages does she teach?
So high school, like 7 to 12 here.
Right, okay. All right, well, we're going to go with the Explain Outcome 5 question. I'm going to ask you as well, Max.
Me?
Yeah, we'll come to you second, though. Give you time to think. So I'm guessing that you've got some people in your life that don't understand what you do, right? But explain, like I'm 5, what do you actually do?
Okay. I really liked Dennis's one last week. Yeah. It was good. But I also was a big fan of Lego growing up, so I'm going to foster that and go for a Lego example. So imagine if loads of different people gave you Lego, but they just dumped it on your floor in a random kind of process. It was just everywhere. Your job is to clean it up, tidy it up and organise it, and then speak to people in the room to see what they want to make and to either help them make it or make it for them.
Brilliant. Like you've used Lego, you've used a toy. That is exactly what I was looking for. Okay, top marks for that. Right, Max, explain that on 5. What do you do?
Is in recruitment. So in a similar sort of vein, we can, when I was growing up, I used to love superheroes. Still do.
I was going to say, yeah.
So, for example, if, there are a big bad team, are attacking the world, my job would be to put together a superhero team and find all of the best superheroes, the strongest superheroes, get them all together in one team to tackle that problem.
That's brilliant. If I was 5, I would want your job.
Yeah, there you go. 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
Sadly, it's not as glamorous, but...
No.
Sack off the Lego. I'm a superhero.
Yeah,
sure.
I know, right? Yeah, that's great. Well done, Max. It was on the spot as well. I'm very impressed. So, how many of your family actually know what you do then? Like they get you working data, but how many of them get it?
Yeah, so my brother's just finishing uni and applying for a data analyst job, so he definitely doesn't know. Dad probably does. Mum probably thinks I'm still a consultant, and my middle brother's probably like, when are we going for a beer? So,
nice.
Yeah,
I think good mix.
Yeah.
Good mix.
Yeah, very good mix. Okay, well, let's find out what people on the street know about data. So we're going to go to Emily on the streets. And today's question was, what does Python do? That simple.
Yeah.
Okay, and we've got 5 answers. So your job, firstly, is to guess how many people are going to get that right.
I reckon 2.5. Yeah, I reckon
2.5?
I reckon 2 will get it and 1 will be nearly there.
I reckon 0.
0.
What does Python going up to a strange?
Well, they know it's questions about data, though.
I don't. If I asked any of my friends or anyone I know what is Python, they'll tell me a snake.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's fair. Okay, let's find out.
You use Python for?
No clue.
I don't
Go try.
I don't know. Add the data into the data world.
That's fine. We'll move on. What do you use Python for?
Python for development. Developing code. Is it Microsoft?
That's good enough. What does Python get used for?
Oh God, is it a coding system? Something? Yes.
Good job. What do you use Python for?
Python's a coding language. I'm not too sure.
What do you use Python for?
Work in data. I guess you're writing up. You're writing up codes.
Good work.
And you both underestimate the power of the world.
Big time.
Big time.
Came across some very intelligent people there, it seems.
3.5?
I'd say.
Even nearly 4?
Yeah.
Pretty much,
Yeah, I
yeah.
was pretty impressed. Code was used on 4 of them, I think.
Yeah, given the fact that, they don't actually know. Do you know what I mean? They were very close, considering they don't work in that sort of,
I was
in
impressed.
data.
That's the best that they've done of all the weeks so far, though.
100%.
The last few weeks they've been getting 1 out of 5.
Really?
Yeah, so I think that was, for whatever reason, because Python for me doesn't do loads of outward marketing, that they've done a good job with something, because people seem to know what they do. Right, we're going to go into the most embarrassing situation at work, but I'm hoping this will be yours, Max, because we're going to do your data joke. So we're going to come to you first.
Okay.
And then we're going to go to you, Mark, which I know you prepared one as well. So the bar was set at like a 4 out of 10 the first 3 weeks.
Yep.
Everyone got a chuckle, but I wouldn't put you on stage. So we're going to find out.
Okay. What did my data say to me whilst it was drowning?
I don't know, Max. What did your data say to you while it was drowning?
I'm sinking. Not bad.
That's not
bad.
That's
First effort.
First effort, yeah. What do you reckon to that, Mark?
Reasonable. I chuckled at that one.
Reasonable? Oh, so yours is better then?
No.
It's looking very confident. Looking confident over there.
Right, let's do it. Let's go.
No, I actually tried to Google data jokes and it didn't return any responses.
Oh, brilliant.
That was a terrible delivery.
Yeah, terrible.
No, but seriously, if you want one, there are 10 types of people in the world. Those who get binary and those who don't. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
I didn't even want to laugh on that one. That was okay. Do you know what? I'm going to say Max. I liked yours the most.
Thank you.
So that's 2-2. Precision against the world now.
Really?
Data jokes. Good effort. But I'm going to go with Max. All right. So into the most embarrassing situation you've ever had at work, Mark. What would that be?
100% early on emailed the whole company, including all of the US, on the eve of them launching a global innovation scheme with our own kind of private pirate innovation scheme for the UK, because we didn't like the US one. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that didn't go down well.
Oh, let's unpack that. I'm so excited for this. I love drama like this. Okay, perfect. Okay, so tell us a bit about, can you tell us what the innovation scheme was, first of all?
Yeah, it was really cool. So we ran innovation labs for clients, and we wanted to do one internally before. We kind of went out and sold it as a cool thing we do. And so it was like a 5-10 week program, and kind of pitch at the end and chance to win kind of 50k towards it, some dedicated time, and it was the second one we were running, and we were just been bought out by the US firm, and we were like, let's do it anyway, it'll be fine. And then just sent it to everyone.
Brilliant.
Didn't I?
So
all employees, US and
I'm going to unpack this a lot, just so you know. Okay, so what didn't you like about it, first of all?
What didn't I like about what?
The projects. Why did you have to go and make a pirate one?
I think sometimes global firms are big and global, and we were still very much that like London office feel, and that sense of community, and we planned it anyway. We're like, well, we won't change this.
Okay, so who did you want to send it to?
Oh, just everyone in the London office.
And there's a staff London email, but you went all staff email?
100%.
Okay, in the email, how much did you rip it apart? Are we talking swear words? Did you insult anyone specific?
No.
Okay.
No, but I didn't actually even know that the other one was going on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I had no idea. So just completely naive to it all. And then you get a call from the boss at 5:30 or 6 a.m. the next morning being like, can you just give us a call when you wake up?
So repercussions?
No, not really.
Oh, really?
Yeah, all good. Just don't do it again. Look at your email.
You got away with one then.
Yeah. Everyone makes mistakes. Doesn't
Yeah, and you didn't insult anyone specific.
100% no.
Fair enough. I'm going to ask you the same question, Max. I didn't prepare you. Maybe you've thought of one while we were chatting. One that you can share?
No, not written. Yeah, I think I don't really have anything PC. I've not really done anything that embarrassing
To
at
be
work.
fair, you
I don't
are
think.
relatively reserved at work.
Quite reserved. Obviously, we went away recently, didn't we? And I drank
Yeah.
a little bit too much
You
and
did, yeah.
threw up on myself in the bed. And then we got stuck with a $200.
There's a 75% chance that
Yeah.
could get cut out of the podcast, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, but no. Other than that, other than the usual in businesses that we work in, people tend to get on other people's emails and sending emails. I can't remember anything specific.
More embarrassing things. Would you rather, this is Emily's question, so I'm going to do it for her.
All right.
Would you rather, I'm going to ask you both. Mark first, have your Google search history released to the office? Everything, personal? Or release everyone else's, but they know it's you who breached it?
Yeah, I heard you last week saying everyone was going to PC.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for I would release it as a lesson.
Okay,
yeah.
yeah. So you're going to take the moral high ground. Yeah, I like it.
No, I would 100% release it, and I'm a big believer in like kind of data ethics and all that kind of stuff. And I've tried to run sessions around what's going out there, like cookies and what everyone knows about you and all that kind of stuff. So I'd use that as a prime example.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So you're basically saying to them, look, I told you so.
They know anyway, right? So there's a really cool company that just went on Dragon's Den in the UK, actually generate ads, and their whole business model, and there's more and more popping up like this, which is like the consumer owns the data and they're going to earn money from the advertising. Or you've got Ecosia, which is like a search engine.
I use that, yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? My
So
wife
good.
sent it to me a few weeks ago, and I sent it around the office. A few people started using it.
I'm on it as well.
Yeah, there you
that?
go. Yeah, really cool, right?
Yeah.
And that was the dude with the long hair, wasn't it, on Dragon's Den? Yeah, I saw that
Exactly.
pop up as well. So
Yeah.
that was really cool.
Yeah.
It's giving people back a bit of control and ownership, right?
100%. Yeah.
Do you see any problems with that in the long run?
I think people won't necessarily understand what it means for them.
That's kind
yet.
of what I was getting at, yeah.
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 So I feel like there's still a long way to educate the masses on actually what is out there and what people do know. But I massively believe in empowering consumers to understand what is there and brands actively championing what's like what they are, what they need versus what they don't.
Yeah, I think it'd be a lot of people chasing the dollars as such and going, yeah, I'll give them all of it, and then the next minute they know it's everywhere, they're getting things they don't want. They're like, I never asked for this. It's like, well, you kind of did ask for it. You know, like when you
100%.
don't read Apple's terms and conditions.
Well, they're so long, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's like, and if you were doing that with every single business,
Impossible.
yeah.
Right, Max. So this includes my search history. Remember when you
Yep.
answer this? Are you gonna-
I'd definitely release everyone else's.
Yeah, I knew you would.
Definitely, and then if anyone has a problem with it, I'd say I'll then just release it to your family.
Wow. So you go.
So yeah, it's survival of the fittest here,
It's
isn't
full
it? It's
power
them
of
or
God.
me, and I'd choose myself and get
And if you come at me, I'm going to do more to you.
exactly.
That was all
Well,
them.
if I've gone that far already, then,
Well,
what
my
go all
argument
the
would
way.
be we're quite a close office, and I think we could get away with it in our office. I think people would just be like, yeah, fair enough. Like, we've all been involved in a lot of these weird questions, but you're now going to release it to my family. I'm
Well,
worried
only
about
if you've
you.
got a problem.
Well, I appreciate-
if we don't have a problem,
Okay,
we're fine.
All right. Oh, okay, I get you. All right, you're going to hold me over a barrel. All right, fair enough. All right. So you mentioned Ecosia, I think it's how you pronounce it, isn't it, before, which is great. So we'll go into this question, which works. So if you could use data to help a specific social cause or global problem or whatever it may be, what would you look at and how would you do it?
Yeah, I thought a lot about this one. So, and it's not just because I watched Seaspiracy. I
Oh,
did
God.
an awesome study back in the day on yellowfin tuna, and so I think I'd go there. Like overfishing, I massively think that's a huge social issue for us all, and it's like devastated loads of communities. Patagonia are like doing some really cool things. They've got a food arm as well. And they're doing some really cool things around trying to reinstate traditional fishing practices and like make it commercially viable. So like really super selective fishing of salmon and stuff like that. So I think I would go into that, and some of the biggest challenges about regulation and there's loads of stuff out there on what's good and bad at that. But like my brain went down the whole like kind of IoT devices. Like imagine if like fishing ships had AI technology on the like kind of like the fish coming through the kind of conveyor belt that was, you know, could identify it and kind of roughly identify how much weight it was and all that kind of stuff, hooked up with a system that yeah, I know. I'm going all in. I'm going all in.
I'm hooked.
Very good. Very good. Very good.
How long have you been waiting to use that?
I just came to me. I just said it, like, you know, it worked. So no, I like it. So you got AI. There's fish going off this way because they're the right way. Fish going off that way, they're not. I was just imagining when you said IoT, like fish swimming around with like little sensors on their head.
Are you saying because then all the trawlers and boats and stuff are then linked together, so they can obviously understand how much that one's taking in, and it's all.
Yeah, 100%. And like the big thing is around, you know, not knowing and people just saying, yeah, trust me, I'm right, promise, this is what I caught.
Yeah.
Well, you know, sometimes you can't lie with when you collect the data.
Yeah.
If you've got the right stuff, you can't lie.
It regulates it a lot more, won't it?
And you could, like, if they're juvenile, they could go off back into the sea and stuff. This is great.
Well, that was the thing on the programme with the, you know, where they were saying, are they dolphin friendly? And the guy's just like, well, you know, we can't have somebody on every single boat.
Yeah.
So if they just, you know, if they kill like 10 dolphins and they just come back and say none, they're down as dolphin friendly. But obviously with that sort of setup, they would not be able to do it.
100%.
You wouldn't need someone on each ship. You could have a machine doing it for you. That's
yeah.
great. Now, this is really cool, right in my wheelhouse. So this is the reason we're asking this question. So, like, I'm going to come across a super white middle class here, but my wife and I are very into like our farmers markets. And we went plastic free like a couple of years ago, and like we go refill our jars and all that. Brilliant. And there was a new stall there this week in Gosford, and she was selling like these little tins of mackerel and salmon, like all line caught, ethically sourced, and all these like jars of like tomato sauce without any preservatives and so. And she's like, I'm just basically trying to source every product I can without any preservatives, done the right way. And I was like, this is awesome. Like, the world needs more of that, in my opinion. But I also understand that it's impossible for a lot of people to live like that as well.
100%.
And we don't eat tuna anymore, by the way. It's a side thing on your tuna point. So,
yeah,
which is a shame, but you know, I like salmon more anyway.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Moving on. So, talk about data in your business. Talk about other people who maybe don't get what you do again. So, what I'd be interested to know is which job functions on your travels maybe think they know about data, but probably don't know as much as they think.
Yeah, I think I like the Dennis answer again from last week about web developers. I think there's something in that for sure. Pet peeve is when anyone says, oh, you know, can't we just integrate with Tableau? Oh, God, like the amount of times you hear that as the answer for integrating with data is ridiculous. I think anyone can underestimate or just make assumptions about data, and that. So I'm being really on the fence here, aren't I? I'm not saying, but yeah, I think developers and sometimes like even product, like a product team that doesn't understand data can be the most frustrating people to work with, because you need them so badly to know data, and you want them to be making every decision with being data led, whether that's, you know, quantitative or qualitative. You know, getting out there and asking customers. I think that's probably where I fear the most if we're not making data-led decisions in the product realm.
Yeah, we've worked with some companies where product is so heavily involved in every decision-making process. By the time it gets to the data team, the decision's already been made, and I guess what you're saying is that's not really how it should work, right?
No, I think that for me is the like one area in modern like companies where I fear the most if they don't really want to make data-driven decisions. That's when I get scared.
Got you. Well, it leads quite nicely into the next question, which is maybe a little bit vague, but where in your career is not knowing what the data says, like, it's not been enough? Just because it says something, it doesn't mean we can just go ahead and crack on and do it, if that makes sense.
I think forever. Like, honestly, no, but honestly, like, because if you don't speak to people, you miss stuff. So you could find the most obvious trend in the world, and they'll be like, yeah, but that's because of this, and you're like, oh God, like, just wasted all my time. unless you really truly seek to understand what they're that what they're trying to achieve and their role, and you understand like where they're trying to go, I do think you miss stuff, and you're looking at it through blinkers. You're not taking into account the whole situation. So yeah, I'm on the fence again, but
Yeah.
like, I really think that every time you don't ask and communicate.
What sort of thing do you think comes first, the question or the data?
Yeah, so
and can that sometimes be different?
I'm a big believer of quant. So you look at what the data's saying and you take that in when you're not ready, and you have that conversation. I think if you go into that conversation not ready, you sometimes they're just like they're teaching you to suck eggs, and you're like, well, actually, I could have done a bit of work up front to have a look and dive in and see which bits I think are interesting and whether that resonates with the person that you're trying to help. So
Brilliant.
I massively believe in that kind of quant approach.
And it's the thing we've discussed on every podcast so far is bringing people on the journey. If you're not including them in it, how can you expect them to? You just turn up with this amazing analysis, and it was like, well, where were you while you went on that journey yourself, right?
100%. And if you do that, you just blow people away sometimes, and they're like, no idea.
Right.
It's the age-old when you're 6 and you're doing maths questions.
I'll
They
show you
always
work.
want you to show the working,
Yeah.
don't you? And you're like, well, no, look, this is the answer, and for some reason, maybe that's to teach you how to be able to do this.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I talk a lot about us climbing the wisdom tree, and like, you know, you can't just get to the top straight away. You need to go up the steps. You can't just you can't run before you can walk, kind of thing. You can just you need to slowly take people along that journey and not just jump to the end destination. 100%.
So moving on to something completely different, and something we haven't spoken about much on the podcast, and I think we're going to get into the next few weeks, is just around work cultures and flexibility. I think it's something quite important that is out there in the world of work at the moment, and everyone's starting to come back to the office, or as Atlassian are doing, not going back to the office. Let's start generally. What are your general thoughts on, I guess, maybe talk about BRG's work culture and flexibility, what's ideal, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, nice. So we went fully remote for kind of 6 to 9 months through COVID, and are now coming back to an office. And I think it's really, I think people have absolutely loved seeing people again and just bouncing off and like having just face to face. Like, we're social beings, so I do think that's so important, and you can feel the buzz and the energy around the office when people see each other. That said, like, I think a lot of people also enjoyed the working from home environment. You know, work becomes a product of life rather than like life itself. You know, you can fit stuff around it, and I think that's been a massive benefit. And like, I was always a big believer in that, and it's not nice to say, but it has really accelerated us being more progressive in the workspace. That said, you have to have an employee community that's ready for it, so it's not right for everyone. And I look at it and I think, wow, some businesses are in a really tough position where you don't have that kind of mature workforce that you feel are, trust is the wrong word, but like mature enough to make that work for them. But I don't feel like that at all at BRG.
So what is
really
your flexibility process?
So we've just moved into a new office, and you can basically choose fully remote, full-time in the office, or just like part-time in the office and part-time at home. And that's what I've gone for. One of my team's in all the time, and a few of the others are just half and half like me. I'll kind of do 3 days a week, 2 or 3 days a week, but maybe more some weeks depending on what's going on. So yeah, it's great. Wednesdays are really busy in our office at the moment with the free lunch. So Wednesdays are.
Is it a different lunch every week? Or?
Yeah, it's good. Actually.
Cool.
But
what was today?
We had fish bowls today.
Nice.
But
No tuna though.
No tuna.
So what I like about that is the individual basis of it. Right, we're going to flip to some of our common questions and the fun ones. But before we do that, we're doing the book club. So which books have you read that have maybe influenced you or helped you in your data career? Can be data related, hopefully, can also not be.
Cool. So I think there's 3 that I thought were too mainstream, so I haven't gone for them.
Cool.
Nudge, Lean Startup, and Information is Beautiful.
Cool.
3 great books, but too generic. So I went for Steal Like an Artist by Austin Kleon. So it's a book which basically tells you it's okay to imitate work. And for me, it was great, because I feel like sometimes you see stuff and you're like, oh, that's really good, they did amazing, I can't use that because it's theirs. Whereas the whole point of the book is like, use it and like don't rip it off and call it your own. Give people credit where credit's due, but the creativity comes in the gaps between loads of other people's great ideas. And I feel like that's massively where the data space is at the moment. Loads of people have done really, really awesome things. It's a kind of about like looking at what that is, working out what your company needs, and kind of like imitating it slightly and finding the gaps between that stuff to find what works for you.
Brilliant.
So that's been my go-to book.
I mean, it's a talent in its own right. Everyone thinks, to be creative, I've got to be the one to come up with the idea, right? But often the most creative people are the one you give an idea to and they make it better, right?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I think that's a good space to be in. So I think people will like that book. We'll put that on the book club. But more importantly, zombie apocalypse. Max, we're going to come to you on this one as well. But we're going to start with Mark. So I'm sure you thought about this because it's our end of podcast question before we get into, of course, why people should work for you. So who would you have as your 3 people in a zombie apocalypse that are not your family, fiance, dog, cat, goldfish?
Yeah, immediately went to Dad, who keeps stuff in the roof, lots of food.
Wait, so just don't unpack that quickly. So he's a doomsday prepper?
No.
Okay.
But yes.
So he would. So would he be on the show? Like, could he get on there? Like, is he fully doomsday ready? Like, he knows his escape vehicle. He knows how many people are coming.
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay. He just stores food. Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. Anyway, back to you.
Yeah. So I'd definitely go for either Simon Pegg or Nick Frost for prior zombie experience.
Okay. Anyone in particular? I'd go Simon because cardio. Harshly, but
yeah, funnier.
Oh.
I'd go Simon.
The other one does turn into a zombie, doesn't he? So
he does that. But funnier is interesting. I think Nick's always been in Simon's shadow a little bit. And when he was on that show on Truth Seekers on Amazon, have you seen that?
I've not seen that one.
Seen that?
He's done a couple of things, but there's another program called Into the Badlands, which is a bit.
I've not seen that one.
It's like a karate program, and he's in that.
Oh, a bit weird.
Yeah, it's quite good. It's actually quite good.
Okay,
Yeah.
Truth Seekers on Amazon with him in it is brilliant.
Is it funny?
I binged the whole thing in one day with my wife. It was amazing. Like, honestly, better than you think it's going to be. Amazon Prime, Truth Seekers.
Oh.
Number 2.
Lara Croft.
Cool.
Nice.
Multiple reasons?
Multiple reasons. Wealthy, so has a lot of stuff. She's definitely well prepared.
Yeah.
And badass. Like, kills everyone.
Nice. Third?
And then Tony Stark, for his ability to create stuff. Like, he can make stuff out of anything.
Yeah, okay, nice. Well, I mean, look what he made in the caves in
Exactly.
where was it, Afghanistan? Like,
Afghanistan, in the film.
pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But so Tony Stark, not Iron Man.
Probably Tony Stark, but in a separate room, so we don't have to talk to him that much.
They're the same thing, though, aren't they? His famous line, "I am Iron Man."
That's true. And to be fair, like, he's just got it now where he just presses the button. It's kind of on him
Yeah.
anyway, isn't it? So he is.
It's got nanoparticles that come out.
Yeah, okay, cool. All right. Nice. Good choices. I think you'd survive. They probably look at you going, why are you here? But you'd probably survive, right? Okay, Max?
So I'd go with Gordon Ramsay, first of all. One, he's an aggressive guy, isn't he?
Good chef.
Yeah. He's a brilliant chef, so your food's sorted. You're going to dine. If the zombies are clearly want to dine on you, I also want to have the opportunity to dine on something I like. So he's there to sort that.
Nice. I don't know if you randomly YouTube guy called Uncle Roger. Have you ever seen him?
No.
Asian dude who does this, like, he rates people fried rices. Gordon Ramsay's the only chef where he's gone, yeah, you do it right.
Really?
Yeah. Like, he's the man.
I think I saw him do a pad thai one or something.
in the fields and, like,
but doesn't the guy say, no, this is not right?
Oh, no, that's different. No,
is that a different
sorry.
one?
Uncle Roger's like a comedian who does like a YouTube channel.
Okay.
Yeah, anyway. Gordon
All
Ramsay,
right.
makes sense.
Yep.
Big, aggressive, good cook.
I was thinking Spider-Man or the lady from Resident Evil, but
Mia
yeah. Can't remember her name in it. Alice. It's
Okay,
Alice.
there you
Project Alice. But I'm going to go with Solid Snake, from the game Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah,
so
'cause
not
he's-
Spider-Man and not Resident Evil.
Yeah.
So you're going for...
Highly trained.
Yeah.
Can hide himself in the jungle. Goes on missions where
nice.
know what if they find him, they deny all plausibility and stuff. So I'm going to go with him.
Yeah.
And then last one, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Love his films.
Yeah.
clearly can handle himself. Seems like a bit of a
Bit old now.
legend. Yeah, but like in his prime. If we can have people from a computer game,
Sure.
I want Arnold in his prime.
Oh, you can have him in his prime. I was thinking old Arnold, so that at least you know if you have to outrun someone, it's probably him.
But if you got to eat someone to stay alive, he's old and his
lasting for a
muscles are
long
horrible.
time.
No, but his muscles are horrible. I want him in his prime.
Right.
So if I can,
Prime-
cut his pec up and stuff.
Yeah, he'd probably still be quite slow in his prime, let's be honest. Like the way
Exactly.
of it.
Yeah.
Okay, 3 men.
I know.
Often people go for 3 men randomly. I get it, but
Well, I think that's just a problem with today's society, isn't it? Then in all these films and video games, it's male characters, and
fair enough. All right, we'll move off that point very quickly. On to some really important points, though, about BRG. So at the end of every episode, we give the opportunity to talk about why people should work for you, your business, and your team. I know they're difficult questions to answer, but maybe we'll start with why BRG, and then why you, and then why the data team.
I'm a massive believer in doing over having. Like, I love that we sell experiences. I do not feel bad about trying to make people do more amazing things rather than have slightly less stuff in their lives. And so it's great coming to work every day and thinking about how we do that. We get to do amazing experiences once a month. So once a month we get to do a fun experience as a team.
Nice.
Practice what you preach. And
What did you do recently?
I did whiskey tasting last week.
Sounds like quite a good one, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. The month before that was paella, making paella.
Nice.
Which was really fun, really fun. So yeah, it's just a company that's growing in an industry that I love, and people are genuinely really nice there and easy to get along with. It's great rapport, good teamwork, and I feel like we're going somewhere. I feel like we've got a really good growth ambition, the capability and to deliver on that. So yeah, I'm excited to where
Brilliant.
we're going.
And then what about yourself? Why should people work for you?
Yeah, so that's a tough one to answer. I think I hope that I provide everyone in my team the opportunity to make an impact, to really come in and help grow the business. I'm a big believer of trying to enable everyone in my team to have that power to grow the business. Most of my mentors in my time have been big believers in people as people as well, and I want that to be a trait that I'm remembered for. Like that, I hope my team think that I actually really care about them and who they are and what they're trying to achieve in their careers and at the company as well. So yeah, I hate the word resource. I just don't like using it.
Nice.
I love the word people. So yeah, that's basically.
Yeah, I'm glad it was hard to answer. It's not easy bigging up yourself, but Max, we spoke about this before a lot, where we think that hiring managers need to be better at being able to sell themselves, because at the end of the day, people want to work for people.
No,
right?
exactly.
Big driver in decision making is who your manager is. So it's good for you to practice at least why someone should work for you. And what about the data team? Why your data team?
Yeah, I think I was talking about it a bit earlier, but data at Big Red Group is massively sought after. You don't have to kind of knock on the door and say, can I get involved? People are just mad keen to get data involved in everything to help them achieve their growth ambitions. We've got an amazing data set now where we're in a position where we can answer a lot of questions, and it's more a case of prioritizing which ones have the most value to the business, as opposed to how are we going to try and answer that. So I think it's a really it's a team that really likes to bounce off each other as well. You get a lot of scope of the role. It's not just siloed to one specific area or one team. Actually, you can really have a really quite a broad experience across the business. So yeah, I think that's what I'd say.
Brilliant. I think one of the biggest things out of today's chat that I've got from you is, working for a business that truly gets data. Like you sitting here, obviously, as a very happy employee, shall we say, and it's lovely to see. And I'm sure a lot of that comes from the fact that the business gets what the data team does, gives you the rope to be creative and.
Yeah, 100%. Sometimes you can feel like it's not like that, and you're explaining stuff that you've felt like you've explained before, but overall, 100%, they're massively bought in. They believe in what data can help them achieve, and they see it as a key enabler for growth. So yeah,
fantastic.
It's a good place to be.
Well, on that note, thank you so much for coming on, Mark. You've been a fantastic guest. We've learned a lot. Max, how would you rate your first performance on the podcast out of 10?
How I personally did,
yeah.
or
Yeah.
probably a strong 7.
A solid 7?
I think so. Yeah. I think
Okay,
Emily's
right.
got to watch her back. So.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Emily's back on next week, and we're going to be joined by Salim Lassoued, someone we've known for a long time. Going to be an interesting guest because he's come from a product background, from agencies like Ogilvy, moved himself into data, and he's actually opened up his own data consultancy recently. So that should be super interesting. But in the meantime, Mark, thank you so much. Max,
Pleasure.
brilliant.
Cheers.
And we'll see you guys soon.